Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. The theme, therefore, the main demand, dump Obama. The message to defeated Democrats is dump Obama, fight Wall Street. These are incompatible. We saw it with the fraud closure issue in the last phase of this campaign, a huge public groundswell of hatred against the Wall Street hedge fund hyenas and zombie bankers who were stealing people's homes and continue to do so. There would have been an immediate constituency for a federal ban using regulations or any other means, executive orders. Let the Republicans scream and defend the bankers. Force the Republicans to show what they are. Attack Wall Street. The Republicans line up to defend Wall Street. They immediately drop all vestiges of Tea Party camouflage, economic populist posturing, cultural populism is all they have left. But if they're out there defending the banks, then you have them. You can nail them in the eyes of the public. But Obama had to take the lead, and with Geithner running the show, this did not happen. If we look back to 2006, when Bush lost the Congress, remember, he drew an immediate conclusion. Bush listened to the voice of the people. He dumped Rumsfeld and brought in Gates. Gates, of course, candidate of the ruling class center faction to be kind of an administrator. You can see he's above party, above administration. Administrations come and go. Gates stays. He's obviously part of this center group, or maybe it's the right-wing Rupert Murdoch and George Shultz group, or maybe he's a co-production of the James Baker center-right group and the extreme right group around Rupert Murdoch and George Shultz in the American ruling class. But Bush responded. Now, the obvious thing for Obama would have done was to say, Americans, I have heard you. Geithner, you're fired, and I'm bringing in somebody. Well, if you wanted to do something interesting, you could bring in some well-known critic of Wall Street. You could have Elizabeth Warren as Secretary of the Treasury. You could have Paul Krugman as Secretary of the Treasury. One of the better candidates might be somebody like James Galbraith of the University of Texas. Why not? I don't agree with these people, but this would be a step in the right direction. But no, nothing. Notice, no personnel changes. And this defeat is bigger for Obama than it was for Bush. We can also notice Obama's constant narcissistic egocentrism. When Bush responded, he said it was a thumping. In the case of Obama, he said, the shellacking I took last night. I took. Obama is in the infantile phase, I guess, of life, where he sincerely believes that everything revolves around him. Plenty of evidence in that press conference that he's on the verge of a nervous breakdown. He was depressed. He was somber. He was muted. He was introspective. He's obviously in the process of mental disintegration. So read those Ulsterman memoirs. We'll get back to that in just a minute. But now let's get to the heart of the matter. We've now got the militant reactionaries of the Tea Party, and I will show you in a later segment. The Tea Party does not exist. There is no Tea Party. If you think that there's such a thing as a grassroots movement with any kind of grassroots meetups or organizations calling itself the Tea Party, it does not exist. This is the apparatus of a color revolution, a CIA people power coup, astroturfing. It's what you saw in Ukraine. It's the mob in the Great Square of Kiev. It's the mob in Belgrade in 2000, 2001. It's the mob in Tiflis, Georgia in the mid-decade here. It's simply an illusion. It's exactly the sort of thing we saw with Obama, using the left-lib and peace movement dupes as the useful idiots. So there is no Tea Party, but now let's get down to it. What you do have is, 60 new reactionaries, 61 maybe, in the House, and 6 or 7 new reactionaries in the Senate. What are they going to do? Well, they don't have enough power to pass anything. They can't get it through the Senate. Obama could veto it, assuming he's got any gumption at all. This is always a big question. But just the Senate by itself will make it hard for them to move their agenda, whatever that might be. They can investigate, and we're looking, of course, to Congressman Darrell Issa of the House Government Operations Committee to deliver. The first thing he ought to do is to say, Obama, there's this question about your qualifications for office. Produce the birth certificate. They can subpoena it. They can extract it from the grasp of the Democratic Party machine there in Hawaii. Easy to do. I don't think he'll do it because I think these people are in the blackmail cartel. We'll get to that issue later on as well. So the reactionaries will not be able to pass their Austrian school cut and gut program. Cut taxes, gut regulation, gut social services, gut the government. So cut and gut. Cut and gut. They won't be able to push that through, and it's not going to be popular. What will they do? Well, the obvious thing is, on the one hand, push the subpoena process to the point of impeachment, and that's certainly possible. I don't think they'll do that, though, because they want to keep Obama around. They want to have Obama to kick around for another 2 years, because if Obama stays, you've got essentially a guarantee of some Petraeus and or Christie coming in 2012 as an austerity dictator. How about Petraeus Christie as a ticket? Christie a little bit hard to market as a presidential candidate because he's too much of a thug. Whereas Petraeus, of course, intelligent warmonger, thinking man's warmonger, he might be just a ticket and has been for the neocons. So what are they going to do? Well, let's look back. Let's look back to Newt Gingrich, Dick Armey. Dick Armey, now this discredited, corrupt, notorious figure of corporate welfare and Wall Street lobbyism and greed, has now relaunched himself. He's rebaptized himself as a Tea Party leader. So has Gingrich to some extent. But this is amazing, and it argues for an extremely high level of gullibility for anybody who's willing to go along with this. Therefore, what can they do? Well, what Newt did was to say, we're demanding savage, brutal cuts in Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. We want to gut unemployment benefits. We want to gut welfare, which still existed at that time, aid to families with dependent children. We want all kinds of cuts in the domestic discretionary budget, including unemployment benefits and all kinds of other things. And he attempted to do a coup d'etat from the House of Representatives. Now, he had Dole in the Senate. Now, Dole was not exactly enthusiastic because Dole could see that Gingrich's militant reactionary excesses were going to drag down his presidential bid in 1996, but still he had to go along up to a certain point. So we got to this moment in October-November of 1995. Many people did not believe that this would happen, but what it was then that Gingrich essentially issued a kind of ultimatum to Clinton saying, I demand these cuts, and if you don't give me the cuts I want, we won't pass a budget, and we will also prevent the raising of the debt ceiling on the public debt of the United States. And this then went to a confrontation. And this is where we're headed now, and we'll talk about this in the upcoming segment. This is now the grave danger that hangs over the world, a lunatic ideology which has now been given at least a share of power in Washington.